This podcast contains explicit language. Hello, and welcome to 424 Recording, a podcast about home studio and lo-fi recording. We're talking all things music, especially in the punk grunge, bedroom, and indie rock genres. In this week's episode, I had a chat with Swedish YouTuber and electronic musician BoBeats. I've been a big fan of Bo's channel ever since I got my Digitact, and that's actually how I came across Bo's channel, by searching for videos about drum machines and drum machine tutorials. I wanted to ask Bo about his work-life balance and how he goes about formulating ideas for his YouTube videos for his YouTube channel. We also talked about the origins of BoBeats and young Bo's musical journey. I learned a lot from Bo, and I just want to say thank you once again, Bo, for taking some time to do this interview. Here's my conversation with BoBeats. How do you balance that, like having to be everywhere? It kind of feels like you have to be everywhere on like social media to get yourself out there.
That's a good question. I think that might be kind of a perception problem. I'm not entirely sure you need to be everywhere. I think that you often, when you start out, it's better to focus like on one or two main platforms, maybe.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, and I agree, that often these platforms have some shared viewers and users, but they have their own like hardcore users, like the YouTube people, the people that will watch everything you do on YouTube, and that will follow kind of the conversations you're having between the videos and kind of the narratives and the storylines that goes on. And then there are those that just, occasionally go to YouTube.
Right.
So I think for me, when you start out, I think focusing on one platform is often better, because like you say, it can be kind of stressful, when you have the different platforms.
So many things to manage.
Yeah. I think that's the main problem, because you could, like, the way I do it is, I of course, YouTube is my main one. And I'd say like Facebook might be my kind of my social platform, where I'm most personal in a sense, because I feel like it's a very conversation driven platform. And on Instagram, I mostly post like gear and coffee pictures. And I don't really engage that much over there. Like it's not my main platform. And I think my kind of formats might not work that well on Instagram, because I do a little bit more long form and explanatory, and I try and show people stuff. And
like the tutorials,
I see a lot of my friends, they do more like super nice music videos, and that format works really well on Instagram, because people will listen to like you have the 1 minute length, so it's just a small piece of music, and it's very easy to accessible for people to kind of listen in, and if they're more interested, they can go to your channel or whatever. So
it's like a way to introduce them to you really quickly, and you can make a quick little music video that's like 30 seconds to a minute and have some music on it, and people can check it out that way. But have you checked out IGTV at all? It's like the new Instagram.
I did like one video for it, and I viewed a few.
Yeah.
I'm not sure sure what I think about it.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like it could be real. I mean, it could work.
Yeah.
But I'm quite uncertain.
I feel like it's a harder platform to bring value to people, right? Because that's how I look at my YouTube channel these days, is like, how am I bringing value to the people that are subscribing to me? So like for someone like your channel, I feel like, I found you through my Digitact, and I was looking up Digitact stuff. And that's like how I became a fan, because I was like searching for this evergreen content of a Digitact tutorial to like learn how to do something. I found your channel. I found Cuckoo. So like I found like the little like synthesizer community that I like follow now. But that's how I became like a fan of all the other stuff that you're doing. Like I'm following the storylines.
Awesome.
And congratulations on your second child, right?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My little son, Vide.
Yeah.
Or I think his name is like Willow in English.
Oh, that's cool.
that's like the same thing. Vide in Swedish means willow.
Willow.
I think. Yeah, willow. So because you can't really say vide, beide, or weede, or it sounds really stupid in English, like weed.
Right.
I talked to my wife about it. Like, yeah, I will probably introduce him as Willow at some point,
Okay.
like because it's easier to say. And the funny thing, my daughter, her
Weeda.
name is Liv, which is translated to life,
Oh,
literally.
nice. Leave.
So
Okay.
yeah, Liv. So that's also kind of a. My name is Liv. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funny. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Weeda. Yeah, how do you balance like your that's something else that leads into another question I had for you was how you balance your like work-life balance because I noticed that you know, you have like you're pretty prolific with the amount of content that you have up and
Sure.
I know that you have a second job or a career as like a psychologist, right?
No, I have. Well, it's near enough. So I had a career as a psychotherapist.
Oh.
So in Sweden, it's kind of important to distinguish the two, but they're very close, psychologist and psychotherapist. Abroad, I think that what I do would, you could easily say psychologist as well. But yeah, so in April of last year, I left I was in charge of 2 offices, psychotherapy offices.
Wow.
At 2 different health clinics that were owned by the same company. And I felt like, yeah, it's time to do something else. I've been there for 7 years. So yeah, done that. And after a while, there's a repetition in the people you're seeing. So, I mean, everybody's take on something can be quite unique, but you see the same kind of patients also in that kind of healthcare setting.
Right.
So I left that and I continued working at university because I had that as well. So basically at 3 places I was supposed to be every week.
Wow.
So at university, I teach educational science and I would say like not formally, but I call it educational psychology because it's basically the courses I teach are very psychology oriented in what I teach, but it's under the umbrella of educational science. So it's very academic, creative in a different way. But,
right.
Yes, I still of course have my title and everything in psychotherapy, and I do consulting part time as well, like in my small firm and stuff like that. But
cool.
But it's not something I'm pursuing as a major part of my career at the moment.
Right. So how did you like pivot into doing your channel? Like how did you start? How did you start your channel?
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I guess I really needed some kind of creative outlet somehow. I think it was when my daughter was born. I started making more music again. And I realized, oh, this is so fun. And I bought a Machina, the Native Instruments hardware thing.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's one of your favorites, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. It kind of got me back into music production again after, like I had like a year or 2 where I didn't really do much. And then, yeah, I started making music again with my daughter. She was sitting in her little, like a little baby rocking chair and like, yeah, listening to my beats
out,
and everything. Yeah. Like it was a lot of fun.
That's cool.
And then I also realized that I don't really have a big interest in making it as an artist.
Yeah.
I had realized that previously a couple of years earlier. And then when I picked it back up again, I was like, no, this is still not like what I want to do. So I thought, why not try and teach about what I know? And I started. And I had way too much work. I had also started a master's education at the same time that was attending myself.
Oh man!
And I had my small baby, and I realized like, yeah, this it doesn't work. Like I did like the first stuff I did was so bad. Looking back, like I think some people enjoyed it, and there were like those those highlights, those videos that you go back to and you still say like this is still good.
Right.
But yeah, for the most part, like for the first year, I think it was 2015, most of the videos were pretty meh. And yeah, and then I picked up the Novation Circuit hardware synth into early 2016, and that sort of shifted everything, because that, I think that gave me, in the midst of my kind of crazy work life and everything, that gave me like a focus point, one thing.
Yeah.
Like a guitar for some people.
Right.
That's what I do, and so I did the circuit. So a lot of people came into my channel with the kind of misconception that the circuit music that I was putting out and the circuit videos was representative of me as a musician and me as a creator in general. But really, it was just like Bo making circuit videos. Like that was kind of just a thing. And some people, they go back and listen to my old stuff that I did when I was like, I don't know, 15 years old, like my first album, and they're like, this is good.
Right.
And it is good. Like it's I think it's hard to say otherwise. It's pretty decent, at least for what I could do then. But that didn't really reflect on what I did with the circuit initially, because I was mostly, jamming out and testing it out and trying to show people how to do it. So I wasn't really invested in doing music. I was more invested in doing tutorials and doing walkthroughs of what I was doing. So that was kind of interesting as well. So I've had like a little bit of a uphill struggle from there to kind of show people like, yeah, well, I not only can show people how to do things, I'm quite decent at making music, even though it's not like a main focus.
Yeah, it's not at the forefront, right?
Yeah, it's like the music is the vessel.
Right.
But it's not the goal. The music is part. Like I'm sitting here in my little vessel with my music and with the synths and everything, but it's going somewhere, and it's not going towards like an album or becoming an artist, or because I know some YouTubers that when they get a following, they start releasing more music and they maybe go on tours and they sort of transition into being a musician. So
right.
or work in some other field very closely related to publishing music or something like that. But that is not really, I don't really see myself on that side. I'm more on the technology, educational side of things.
Cool. So more like reviewing tutorials, things of that nature.
Yeah. Because I think, and this is, I guess this ties into your previous question about like the balance. So I think one reason why I started the channel was because I was feeling a very heavy shift in balance in my life, which I didn't like. I was spending so much time dealing with other people's needs.
Interesting.
And I wasn't really attending to my own needs, creatively, existentially.
That sounds very similar to some things I was going through as well. It's interesting.
You want to share?
Oh no, I'm having a blast listening. I wanted to ask you too.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit about at one point you realized that music wasn't going to be your main focus, or becoming a musician wasn't going to be your main focus. So like, take us back to what was young Bo's aspirations in terms of music?
Young Bo, that's a really good question. Cool. Thanks for. Let me go down memory lane.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna fold the chair down and lay down, and we can start the session here, and I can just get something off my chest.
Let's do it.
I've always been creative, and what I mean by that is creativity for me has a lot about coming up with novel ideas. It's not like reproducing. So for example, when I started exploring my creativity, I think formally was because I had a teacher, a very influential teacher, Janina. She was from Poland, and she was an artist and a teacher. So she drew.
Oh, nice.
She drew, and she made paintings, and she taught me a lot about art and expressing myself. And I realized really quickly, like I had the technical skill to draw. In Swedish it's called stilleben. So it's like you draw what's actually there. So you might draw like a bottle of water or something like that. You draw the stuff that you see around you
Right.
as is, like a photograph.
Still life, is that what that is? Maybe?
Yeah, still life. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, something like that. Yeah. But I realized very quickly, like, I could do it technically, but I didn't have any passion for it. I had a passion for exploring new things, something in front of me, something in the future, something that wasn't necessarily fully explored. So I did some drama. I did some live role playing. Not a lot of people know that, but
Whoa.
LARP, live action stuff.
So you're a
you
gamer
dress up.
too?
Yeah,
Cool.
I had the video game chair.
Yeah.
I did video games as well, and a couple of years later, I stumbled through video gaming. Actually, me and a friend, we stumbled upon the video game music for PlayStation. And this was at the same time where we started to explore making music in my school, because we had a school studio. And, I was really bad at it. Like, I had no clue. I had taken some like keyboard lessons and some, I think it's called in English, the recorder. It's sort of a flute. But it's like the most boring, corny, nerdy flute. My sister, true story, she actually leveled up from a small recorder to a big recorder, and she was really like super into it for a little while. Like, she was really skilled. I just learned to play like the most basic stuff on it.
Right.
Because in Sweden it's mandatory, or was mandatory, to play the recorder.
Yeah, I remember. I think that the same here in America too. It was like, I remember everybody had one of those, and you had to carry it around. It came in like a little pouch, and they made you learn all like little lullabies.
Little pouch.
Yeah,
I had one with a little handle, so you could hold it, like a little briefcase with the recorder. I still have the recorder, my first recorder. I don't have it in the studio, but I have it somewhere.
Okay.
So
you'll have to make a video on that at some point.
Yeah, I use my melodica. I have like a really old melodica.
Oh, those are cool too.
Yeah, those are actually, they sound really good when you start applying reverb and stuff on them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I had a little bit of music knowledge, but not that much. And me and a friend, we kind of started doing. We did. I think the first stuff we did was like video game remixes. So this was way back before not a lot of people were doing it, and we had some success. We had like, Bungie, for example.
Yeah.
They actually published one of our tracks to all of their viewers on their main site and stuff like that. So that was really cool, because we were just kids, fooling around.
They made like Halo, right?
Yeah, but before that, Bungie makes Halo, or made Halo.
But this was like even before that.
Yeah, this was when they did Myth, like a strategy game.
Oh, I remember Myth. Yeah.
Yeah, so we did. There was a Swedish track called Hip Hopper, and we did the chorus goes something like "'Cause I'm a hip hopper, yes I am, what? Yes I am, what?" Something like that. It was a pretty cool track. Like, it was some really dope Swedish hip hoppers.
I didn't know I was gonna get personally serenaded by Bo. This is amazing.
Yeah, awesome. So we did a cover on it.
Yeah.
But nobody understood that it was a cover, because it was such an obscure Swedish thing. So we did like, "'Cause I'm a myth gamer, yes I am, what?" Yeah. And we did it about that strategy game. So I think that was kind of the like a very important point where I realized, like, this is fun. Like,
cool.
This is fun to be creative. It's a really good way to express myself creatively, and you can explore things in so many directions. Because I already felt like I didn't really mix that well or gel that well with drawing and painting. Like, I could do it.
You knew there was like a creative element to who you were, but you weren't sure how you were going to apply it or what the passion was for it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I really needed some kind of outlet, I think. So besides, like, yeah. So because I've always spent a lot of time by myself thinking about stuff and exploring stuff. So music became kind of a big deal, and I made a lot of tracks back then, and I made a lot of music. Some stuff that got sort of popular online for a little while, and yeah, so this was back in like,
Myth,
I don't know, 2000 or something.
Right, because I mean, my buddy actually, that had to be like, Myth was what, like 95 maybe, or 97?
Yeah, Myth 1 could probably be, let me Google it
Because I know there was like Myth 2, Soul Brighter, right? Did you ever play that
Yeah,
one?
exactly. Yeah, sure. Yeah, exactly. So it was Myth 2 that we played. It came out in 98, apparently.
98, okay.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So that was just like around when we started exploring music. I think I started around 97.
Okay.
So and very shortly after, because I'm kind of a, I'm a nerd like you, probably a nerd a little bit.
Sure, of course.
So you know how it is.
You gotta
get
be
hooked on something, and then you go deep into it.
Oh yeah.
It's like with the coffee.
Yeah.
This summer I bought 3 different pour over systems, basically, to try it out, to learn,
to level up.
And level up, and you view a lot of tutorials. We didn't have those back then, of course, the tutorials, but so I had my father buy me basically my father, he said, well, if you want to make music, you can just use the piano. Here's the piano.
Cool.
But I told him, like, I tried to explain, like, he wasn't really into electronic music.
Yeah.
But it was, a very cultural fellow. So I explained about electronic music, and I showed him some synths that I wanted and stuff like that. And I, for the longest time, was looking at this like some keyboard with like multi-tracking, MIDI multi-tracking keyboard, some really shitty Yamaha entry-level stuff.
Yeah.
And this one guy, I think this one guy created my entire career after that. I went to a store in Stockholm, and you know how music store personnel can be a little bit, nose up in the air, like,
sure,
this is the cool stuff, this is bad, I don't like that. Kind of the failed rocker mentality or something, I don't know.
Chip
and
on the
he
shoulder,
just looked at me and like, you can't buy that's shit. Like, he just told me off, like, that you can't make shit on that. You need something like this. And he pointed at a groove box from Yamaha.
Oh, okay.
So we found one used.
This is the origins of BoBeats right here.
Exactly. Got the Yamaha RM1X and kind of, it's like a similar to a Digitact, like it's multi-channel, but it's not sample based. It has a synth engine of some kind. I don't remember the specs, but yeah. And I started exploring that I brought it with me. It was big, like a tank, heavy. But I brought it with me on vacation for like 2 summers, and it took me 2 years, I think, to like understand it.
Right. That's
so
the
people
thing,
today, they're like, if they don't understand it in like a day, it's like, it's complicated. But
and you didn't have tutorials to look at back then, probably either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All,
and it is, and a lot of the technicalities behind these kind of pieces of gear, with the Digitact and stuff.
Yeah,
it is kind of complicated when you're first starting out. If you don't have any like baseline knowledge.
Yeah. It took me like a good day or two of like, I mean, but like you said, to mention like the nerd aspect of doing all this stuff, like I printed out the manual and I literally like read it like a novel for like a day.
Yeah.
Like, just like testing things out. And then obviously I was watching like Cuckoo's tutorials on it. I was watching your tutorial on it, and that obviously helps a lot. I've been wanting to make a tutorial on it too, just because there's so many things I feel like as you make, maybe, I feel like when you make the tutorials, like you learn so much yourself about these instruments too. That's something I really enjoy with some of the stuff I've been doing. And that's something with the Digitact is like, I use it like so simple and like really basic aspects of it. And I feel like there's so much more, so much deeper I could go with it. But the type of music that I make is more just like, I'm just looking for kind of like a drum machine sampler.
Sure.
Not looking to manipulate it too much.
I think it was clearly aimed at that demographic in one way.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean they marketed it very strongly, like the drum machine.
Yeah.
But I think people realize like you're paying for a pretty advanced sampler, basically a very creative sampler. Something like the TR-8S from Roland, that's more a standard drum machine. Now you can do like a song on it, and you I have it over here. It's really cool. It's really good, but it's quite different from the Digitact because the Digitact has a deeper, yeah. Basically, you can edit samples on a deeper level, and you can do more wild stuff with the sequencer. So yeah, you should definitely do a tutorial because I think there's like definitely there's so many areas that people ask questions about. So there's not one video covering everything or every angle.
Right. Cool. Thanks, Bo. I'm definitely gonna.
Yeah.
I definitely want to do that. Thanks for the
Yeah.
encouragement.
Yeah, and especially like coming from, I think it's very important also coming from like, we all come from different musical, perspectives and backgrounds. So the way we approach something, especially like the electron stuff, because it's very much something you learn to use in a particular way, which works for you, but maybe you don't use all the functions every time and stuff like that. So yeah, so I think you coming from, I suppose you are a little bit better with a guitar maybe than I am.
Yeah. That's more. I do more like guitar based, like.
Yeah, I mean, so that's an awesome angle. Like, how can you use a Digitact with a guitar, for example?
Well, it's like, I mean, it's so cool. Like I've been like sampling a guitar in over the drum machine, and then being able to time manipulate it and slow it down and just warp it and compress it and distort it. The overdrive circuit on here sounds great, and it's like it opens up so many opportunities because like with the guitar music, like the type of stuff I play, it's like pop structure, so it's kind of like playing the same chords for a verse.
Sure.
So, but with a Digitac, what I can do is once I get those chords, rather than play it a million times, I can just loop it on the Digitac and then manipulate it. And I've come up with there's almost like too many ideas going on when I use it.
Yeah.
Like I almost get like overwhelmed because I'm like, oh my gosh, like this sounds sick when I speed it up. This sounds cool when I slow it down. This sounds cool when like this is super overdriven. So I think the sampling aspect of it.
You go. That's a really novel angle. I think that if you do a video about that, I think you should post it to like the Digitact group over on Facebook. I think there's definitely people.
Facebook.
There's a lot of cool groups there, especially like the Digitact group is very nice. But I think like exactly like the way you approach a sampler like this depends a lot on what kind of instruments you're using, kind of your own workflow. And there's just a lot of standard stuff has been done. Like, okay, I'm going to sample synths into it. I'm going to sample drum machines into it. But a lot of the stuff with like guitars, I think, is kind of overlooked because it's not a looper. So some of these samplers have these loop functionalities and of course works a little bit better with a guitarist. But like you're saying, I think it's an excellent sidekick to a one-man band, for example.
Right, because I really wanted to actually use it more in that fun. Like, I don't know. I started thinking like I don't really play out too much anymore. I kind of have the same, realization that you did. Like, I don't know if that's really the lifestyle for me. Like playing out and playing a lot of clubs and shows and places and staying up late because as you get older, you have more responsibilities. You can't be out till 3 a.m. You want to hang out with Willow and life, so.
Exactly.
So it's like, but what I started realizing was like, I'm not sure what people's take on guitar-based music is anymore, but that was my whole idea was to record my songs, record the parts, because they're so simple, the guitars, and then just kind of play the songs, like just bring the Digitact, and then I have a Moog Minotaur, right, for the low end, and like just go to a club if I ever wanted to play or an open mic, and just have all like not even bring a guitar anymore, but have the guitar in the Digitac, and then play the songs back like that. Because I think there's something that I feel like people are much more interested in electronic music today, and people manipulating sounds. I don't know. At least that's just the vibe that I feel. I don't know. It's kind of
I think so too. I think there's a little bit of a resurgence in we've had like the DJ scene for a long time and the whole laptop thing on stage, and I think at least in some circles it's definitely like a big draw towards playing live with more instrumentation that we can tweak, and also I think there's at least a little bit of a scene where that is really really enjoy the people enjoy it. But of course, at the end of the day, I guess like most people who attend a show, they don't really care if it's a laptop or a synth. They don't
Yeah.
like it's all about the show, I guess, in the
Right.
end, like how you do it. Like if you're an introvert standing and staring at a screen, or if you're staring at a small box, I guess most people won't really understand the difference. So,
Yeah.
but I think there's definitely at least a larger acceptance because of the way electronic music has sort of become very, very mainstream, with Avicii, for example,
Right.
making like combining pop and electronic dance music a lot. So people know about it. And yeah. So I think acceptance of synths and that sort of samplers on stage is larger today for sure.
And I think that's something that's so compelling about Digitact is that it's not just like go up and press play on the laptop. Like it's so tactile, you know. Like there's something about the electron stuff, like the stuff that I've come across, that's so you just want to you just want to like manipulate it. And I think that's also just something with music too. Is you just want to have that tactile experience of turning knobs and hitting the keys. Like the keys have such a pleasurable, like, I don't know. There's just something about it. Like I always just want to sit down and do something with it. I don't know.
Yeah. I agree. There's something to it for sure. I can't say more, but I have a really, really cool piece of kit here downstairs
What?
that is coming out. That is coming out next week.
Okay. Well, I saw the mystery box.
Yeah, that one is.
That's a different one.
Yeah, it's over here. It's the
It's like the
Electron Analog Heat.
Analog Heat, yeah.
That one is already announced.
Oh, okay. This is so you have a whole other one?
Yeah, but it's not from Electron. It's from another company. But I think you will enjoy it. I think you're definitely like in the target demographic.
Whoa.
So it's something. Yeah, you can definitely make some cool stuff with it, and it's just very hands-on and tactile, and
cool.
And it's just something, especially. I mean, and I know a lot of people have different opinions on this, but I think you as a guitarist can probably relate. Like playing a guitar is not just about like the sound. It's about the feel of the guitar itself. Like it's an instrument.
Absolutely, yeah.
And some people, especially in the synth scene, when you talk about kind of how you enjoy something like the Korg Mini Logue, for example, or the Drum Brute, for example, when you talk about how you enjoy it, not because of how it sounds, but because of how it plays, how you interact with it. Some people are like really frowning, like, but if it sounds bad, like, and I'm like, well, it doesn't sound bad. It's just that it's not the perfect sounding synth, but it's so fun to play.
Yeah.
So, even if I could get like a little bit better sound from something else, it's not as fun. It's not as, you don't have that relationship to the instrument.
Yeah, and sound is so subjective too, like, I don't know. There's all sorts of different instruments, and because like
Sure.
for instance, like I have one guitar that's like maybe right out of the shot, and it's this old silver tone. It's like a 50s, 60s guitar, and at the time it was made as like a practice instrument for, kids, or you order it from a catalog. It was like a mail away thing, and today it's like made better. It's like a better guitar than the ones they make like right off the assembly line, and it's but like people used to frown upon it because they're like, oh, that's like a student model, and it has like a short neck and it feels really bad. But to me, there's like something about the sound of it that's like super unique. And it just sounds amazing, But I feel like a lot of people would say that's a piece of shit.
It's a little bit like when people who play guitar frown upon people who play the ukulele.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's for some people that's super
what
enjoyable.
They like. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has special tone.
More power to them.
Yeah, so it's like it's all about the feel. But I was thinking, if I answered your question, you asked me like previously about like the balance.
Yeah. That's something I'm really curious about, because it's something I don't know. I feel like I'm facing in my life too.
You work full time or with something else?
I used to. Yeah, I used to have a full time like job at the post office, and then I actually left that job because it was just there wasn't much there wasn't much of a future with that. So. But now I've just been doing, I've been doing the channel and been going on some interviews and stuff and doing some freelance stuff. So yeah, I'm kind of not really working full time at the moment, but I feel like I'm, at some point that's going to be something that I have to go back to. And I mean, I was working on the channel for the past, year and a half when I was at my other job, so, but I just noticed like more and more things start to come into life, and, sometimes I can schedule out all the videos that I want to do and shoot them in like a weekend. And then sometimes I can't, I'm behind the eight ball and trying to get stuff out because I think it's all about being consistent, and coming out with stuff. But but then I look at someone like you and I'm like, oh yeah, you could totally do this. Cause you have, your two kids and then you have your jobs and then you have all the, like synth and drum machine videos that you've been putting out and all the things you're interested in with your channel. And then you said like you're on Facebook all the time and Instagram. So it's like, I guess there's a way to balance it all, but I'm just really bad at that kind of stuff, to be honest. So,
I shouldn't say that I'm good at it either. Like there's a certain level of madness involved.
Okay. I'm really happy that you said that.
There's a certain,
because like from the outside looking in, it seems like, you have time to, or like you have a really good handle on like, your channel and being able to manage everything and balance everything.
To be fair, I've realized that, yes, compared to the way I've lived my life, comparatively, when I compare myself to, for example, I work with a lot of older people at university. Older in the sense that, they're like 50 and I'm in my 30s.
Yeah.
So I've always been like the young person, and that is of course a super like it's really nice for me because I can learn so much from them on how to teach and about the knowledge and everything and the science behind everything. But one thing I've really realized is the way I've lived my life, I've always have to take care of myself. Even though I have a pretty decent upbringing and so on. So I learned, and especially when I started to work, I learned very quickly because I had different jobs. Like I have to be very meticulous about my schedule. And now for somebody looking at it, if they were to look at my schedule, I think they would find the madness in that as well. Like both the way I maybe push in too much in my schedule, but also in that it can be quite chaotic because I'm not an inherently structured person, but I learned to be something I taught myself.
That's a great
to
skill
be structured. To have. I think so, especially because I come from a family with a lot of creative people, and there's a level of, like you often say, like creativity and madness, they're closely tied together.
Yeah.
I mean, I say madness, but jokingly here, like a little bit when a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't translate well to Swedish madness, but I know in English you could say it with a little bit of a smiley face. You got to be a little bit mad, but in Swedish that just doesn't translate very well. In Swedish, it's very like black and white. If you're mad, it's just
you're
bad.
Like locked up in the clock tower.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like there's like in Sweden, if you were to talk about like a mad scientist, you would literally be talking about some kind of Nazi German scientist. There's no joking about that.
There's no gray area.
The words are a little bit different there, but yeah, a little bit crazy. You need to be a little bit crazy. But what I was getting at was that is a skill I taught myself to be kind of. I had to discipline myself, and I also had to. I have had to learn how to set aside time for various tasks. So while I, of course, just like somebody else, can be very stressed about stuff because you get stressed when you set a high goal and you want to reach it and you push yourself, but at the same time, I do have a pretty good understanding of time management. Now, I'm not saying that I time manage very well, but I think considering the amount of stuff I have to do in a week, I do it on a pretty decent level. So I could do it a lot better. I could probably prioritize a lot more. I'm pretty bad at prioritizing. But I guess my bad prioritization works because I still have the chunks of time that I need. So sort of balance it. So because I know I'm bad at prioritizing and I have too much things to do, I often have like big chunks of time. So I know, okay, so if I'm doing like a lecture on a Tuesday, I know I always have like a big chunk of time before that because there's always stuff that happens around when I do a lecture. So I know that. So I'm never the one like coming into a lecture like, oh my God, yeah, I'm so stressed. Like never. That doesn't happen because I'm always well prepared. Like I've prepared and I prepare my family as well. Like, yeah, today I'm going to go and have a lecture. That means that I have to, have the morning kind of off. Like I can't be engaged with family stuff because I need to think about what I'm doing. And talking about family, that's all having supportive families. I have a very, very supportive partner. She's very, very kind, very supportive in the sense that she lets me take on a lot of the projects. And
that's great.
While, yeah, she doesn't share a lot of my passions for things. But I think she has some kind of profound understanding of creativity and profound understanding of my need to have a bit of space for what I'm doing, I suppose. So I think that's a very important element as well.
Right. Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to do all the things that you do with the responsibilities that you have if you didn't have a partner that was understanding to what you wanted to get done with your life. Yeah,
sure. Now, of course, she's no like home wife or something like housewife or something like that, but she doesn't focus as heavily on her career as I've done for the last couple of years. She's been working longer than me. I have a much longer education, but she's been working. So she's done some very serious things in her line of business, but and done some really had some good positions in companies and so on. But now I think she wants to work and she works, but she doesn't work full time. And now she's also home taking care of our newborn. And that's something she's prioritized. Like it wasn't something we said like it has to be this way. And I'm also in a very fortunate position, and this is something that of course doesn't show very well, because I work in higher education. I do have a lot of possibility to manage my time, and this is often something that is overlooked, but it's often more important than having a good pay. That possibility to actually manage my time on a day-to-day basis. I can basically, for almost, I'd say like for 80% of my time of the university work, I'm in charge of when I do things.
That's amazing.
Yes, it's basically just meetings and a couple of mandatory things. And the rest is always up for debate, like always up for a discussion about, when it's supposed to be done. And of course, courses, they have a certain schedule, but and when they're starting and ending. But in between those dates, I have a very large possibility to shape what I do.
Wow.
So that's also something. So of course I try. That's also a way to maximize things. So I'll try to, get stuff done when I have a softer period in university.
Right.
Like during a preparation period. So maybe I do one heavy month of teaching, and then I have like 1 month, maybe a little bit more chill, more preparation, I can work a little bit more from my home office. And then I also have time to prepare for YouTube.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, is like how do you go about doing the preparation for your videos?
So this is where I need to be better.
Okay.
Because I'm a little bit inconsistent, or I'm very inconsistent. I'm not really good at preparation. Like that's why I think I developed my time chunking and planning ability in the sense that I have a lot of time, because I'm not really effective when it comes to standardizing a workflow. But I've become a lot better. So it's something which is, I think YouTube has been hugely influential for my teaching as well, because I was more the kind of lecturer that winged it. and I've realized the potential of being more planned. So that's something that came about through YouTube and through.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
One of the most positive impacts I think YouTube has had on my life too has been just all these new skills and different ways of looking at things. Like even if even if the videos were private and nobody saw them, and I was just I've just learned so much from my tenure or whatever being a YouTuber. It's like I've gotten some like I probably wouldn't be this good at even speaking with people. Like I've gotten so much better at public speaking and being able to and conceptualize my thoughts better and riff on ideas that I have. And it's like I think everybody should try doing a channel and do something in terms of video, or even if it's just for you, like because and lighting and all these different skills.
Yeah,
like
I think it's a lot about like creating a product in a
Yeah.
sense, like a tight product,
right.
and learning different skills that are involved in creating that product.
Yeah,
And
and that can be applied to any part of your
yeah,
life.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, because so one thing that happens when you teach higher education, especially like at my level, is that you are dealing with very abstract concepts.
Right.
And so sometimes people tell me like, yeah, you're a little bit it's a bit how do you say, long-winded?
Long-winded.
Long-winded, yeah. Like it takes get to the point, like be snappy. And that's kind of the curse of being a teacher. Like I'm used to talking for 4 hours. Like
Wow.
I can do 4 hours with one break.
Wow.
Like with one small break, I can do 4 hours, and I could probably do 4 hours even with a very, very limited script.
Wow.
Because that's the way my brain works.
Right.
I'm
sure you know a lot about the topics.
Yeah, sure. I mean, and also like having a dramatic side, so I can build up an interesting talk about something over a couple of hours.
Sure.
But that has the problem that if I'm going to talk about something very specific and technical for a very short period of time, I really have to work on it, because that's not really my normal skill set.
Wow,
that's not what I've
super
worked
interesting.
on. Yeah. So YouTube has helped me immensely, because of course I'm aware that I can talk for a long time, and that it can be very problematic in some areas.
Because everything online is so like quick cuts, get to the point.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. That and that certain topics doesn't benefit from the long form.
Right.
Because it's most people are turned off by it. Like it doesn't work. It works basically. It's this. It works in an educational setting because people are forced to come.
Yeah.
Like 90% might not show up if there's no exam.
Right.
So I mean, if there were a YouTube exam that people had to take, they might sit through your 2-hour video.
Right.
But
if
most people can't do. Yeah. Most people, like Cuckoo does very long videos.
Right.
And he's like there's just something great about what he does.
Yeah.
Some quality. I can't really pinpoint it.
Me either. I don't know.
There's some superb quality to what he does that makes it work.
Mm-hmm.
But most people, even I, who normally do it for lectures, we can't do it. We don't make it work for an hour, 2 hours. We can't do it. I think it's a very rare talent or a combination of personality and format. But so I think most messages benefit from this training that you were talking about, this training of making the product and everything that goes into it. I think most things benefit from it, teaching as well. So I've worked on my teaching as well to kind of, instead of doing 4 hours, let's do 2 hours and be a little bit more
scripted,
to the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scripted and to the point and sort of, yeah. And there's there's some big benefits to that as well.
That's awesome.
So it's I guess a bit of to make it work, like a lot of planning, a bit of madness, and hopefully over time finding some kind of structure to your product. it's a good way to put it. And you asked me about like my process. So today my process is a lot more structured. I often start with often with a title idea, and I write a little bullet point script. And sometimes I flesh it out if it's a bit more complicated, or if it's more important that things are very correct. And I might even do like a little, how do you say, like a image script. So I'll write down
storyboard.
Storyboard. Yes, that was, yeah. So I might do a little storyboarding as well.
That's so cool.
Just to give me an idea of because I realized that it works for me, because it means that I will work because I can be long-winded. I need to chunk it down. So I chunk it down into different themes.
Right.
And then I can record one theme or a couple of themes and see how they fit together. And oftentimes I have to put it into Final Cut Pro as well, and just to see kind of, how it's laid out and how does it work. To give me kind of a more hands-on feel for. And I realized doing this over time, I realized like I've become more and more comfortable and I understand more what works, what makes something work, and what makes it not work.
Right.
So that's kind of I think that's where I am today with my process.
Awesome. This has been a great talk, Bo. I've learned so much from you about all different aspects of life.
Yeah, we've just been rambling on here. I just kind of vacation here. That's like the madness part of it. It's like vacation, and I produced, I think, 2 videos per week.
Wow.
And next week it's 3 videos at least. There's a new thing coming on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, like 3 new products.
Yeah.
So I had to, so my wife, she's like, oh, okay. but yeah, she's cool. Yeah.
Is that one that the secret one you were telling me about, is that coming out?
Yeah, on Thursday.
Cool.
Thursday.
I'm excited.
So we've got kind of an audio interface coming on Tuesday. Wednesday, there's a new update to a new cool thing. And on Thursday, there's a new synth.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, for sure. So what's your plans? Do you have any like video plans coming up?
Oh man, yeah. I have a couple different so my channel is like cassette 4-track. It's like an older type of recording device that uses a little compact cassette or a regular cassette to record onto. So that's kind of where I started out. And lately I've just been trying to record some more music and recording a song and then showing the workflow. So like, here's how to record a song and here's how I went about doing it. So I got some stuff like that. I really want to do that Digitac video too that we were just talking about. I try to plan it out, and then I also have like a loose idea of what I'm going to do too, because I feel like sometimes with planning it out a lot, it's good to be able to improvise within that structure, because sometimes things come up.
For sure. Yeah, exactly. And one thing I learned as well is that, just starting, how do you say, like starting a day with a set plan is not always good. Like you need to do it for at least like 60% of the time.
Yeah.
But you also need to have that kind of room for, today I just want to do this. Right. So what I've done is I've worked on having multiple projects alive at one point in time. So I think I have like 7 videos in production at the moment. Wow. And that makes it so that when I wake up, I have a little bit more to choose from.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I can, I'm feeling this today. And so, I think that's been good for me in a sense.
Wow. So you work on them over a long period of time then, each video?
Depends. Okay. Some videos, you referenced the Electron Mystery thing.
Yes.
Yeah, I did that in 2 hours.
Right. Because I was gonna say some videos are like That's the same here. Is like once I get started with them, I'm like I'm just gonna crack this out, and because I have like a very clear
Yeah.
vision for it, and then it's just shot after shot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, um, I think some videos are just very quick to make. If
Yeah,
there's a solid idea and you have
I'm sure like those
maybe
vlog videos that you've done, like where you're like walking around outside. I really
hmm?
enjoyed that format, and then you went to like the synth store and were like checking out.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I'm sure those
yeah,
are like a lot of fun and just kind of almost like, I'm just gonna go for a walk today and see what happens.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Don't, some of them take more. The problem with them is that some of them take more planning because it's so easy to end up with nothing.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, one
and I
thing.
realized, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say like that was one thing I wanted to ask you too. Is reminds me of because like sometimes I'll come up with a video and then
Hmm?
I used to be a lot more of that's a great do you think you're a perfectionist at all? Do you ever run into like perfectionist tendencies with your editing or with the videos or because I used to be like way like I always say like 10 years ago the person that I was like would never have been able to do a YouTube channel. I would still be working on the first video, because I would have been
Mm.
this is not good enough.
I don't have those kind of perfectionist tendencies. No.
Nice.
Um, perfectionism is a complicated because the term itself sort of alludes to perfecting the product, but that's not necessarily. So I have perfectionistic thoughts and
Okay.
anxieties, but they are not connected to actually getting stuff done.
Right.
Like when I'm actually working on something, I don't have perfectionistic thoughts because when I'm engaged in working with something, uh, the the sort of the pressure, my desire to get it out overcomes any perfectionistic anxieties.
Right.
But I have
That's cool.
perfectionistic thoughts when I'm not working. So I can wake up with, I had like an idea what I wanted to do today. I wake up and I say to myself like, yeah, Bo, that's not gonna work. That's not a good idea. Kind of these self-defeating thoughts
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
comes from who your previous experience as kind of negative thoughts
Yeah.
that I think a lot of creative people have, and I
Absolutely.
would call those sort of perfectionistic thoughts because they are. It's like you have to think about this more so that that when you start to work, your idea will be great.
Yeah.
But I've learned that I should just ignore those thoughts and get on with working on something and
Yeah.
evaluate it after the fact. It's
Same
sort of
here.
the strongest technique because the more I do it, the more I realized, okay, I have 5 videos and I had negative thoughts about 2 of them, but they are good. And I realized like the 5th video that I didn't have any negative thoughts about, it's crap. Like it
Right.
doesn't work. Like it's just not good enough. It's not interesting. Like it's incoherent. Like it doesn't make sense. So I realized that like my thoughts, those perfectionistic thought patterns, are not helpful in deciding what I should and shouldn't do.
Right. Yeah, and
But
the
yeah,
thing is like
sorry.
people too will I feel like I'll spend so much time on certain videos and then ones that I spend not a lot of time on are sometimes people's favorite ones. So it's almost
Sure.
like even if you make one that you think is incoherent, I just wind up usually personally like if I have one like that, I'll just put it out because well, Monday's another day or Friday's another
Sure.
day and because you have to I don't know, I feel like I want to be consistent even if I put out something that's subpar, right? It's like at least I'm getting something out there. At least I tried to do something.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I think it's at least I think so. My main advice is always like when you start doing something or before you sort of get the ball rolling and you're starting seeing very large numbers, or it's not about the absolute numbers. I'm not talking like when you see exponential growth. So when you start to grow on a channel, that's when I think it's important to kind of take a little bit of a step back and evaluate kind of what projects will you and will you not do.
Okay.
Because what I'm kind of getting at here is when you're starting out and before you have like a exponential growth, it's so hard to know what works and what doesn't work. Like you don't really have any baseline. You don't really know if your format works. So it's probably just better to like you say, keep being productive, keep putting stuff out there, see what people respond to, see what you respond to. And there's often like this middle segment in the middle where it's something you enjoy doing and people enjoy watching. There's often a possibility to find that.
Right.
But you won't find it if you let your perfectionism or self-doubt or anything get in the way. Or if you sit too long with a video and you put it up. Like the most sad thing that I ever see is like when people, they spend like ages on a video and it comes out and like 200 views. And you know, it's not that 200 views is bad. It's that I know that the person who has put in the time, he or she wanted a different reception.
Right.
So sometimes I tell people, like, unless it's like something that's super dear to you, don't spend like 2 months on something.
Yeah.
Instead, spend a little less time and be more consistent and kind of see what people relate to. And if that's what you want. I mean, if you want to do the video regardless of kind of how many sees it, it doesn't really matter. Kan du bara stänga dörren? So then my wife came home from the beach.
Nice.
She's been up with the kids. But yeah. So my strategy from the beginning was like, output a lot of stuff, do a lot of stuff, and just kind of see what works, what I enjoy doing, what people can relate to, learn from that experience. It's not about catering to an audience. It's about kind of learning what works for you and what kind of works for, I wouldn't say like what people want. It's more like, because there's an alignment between kind of what works for you is often something that people also can relate to, in my experience, like in the middle. Like, because we are, I guess my thing here is I assume that most creative people want somebody to see their work.
Right.
Like, why else would you do it?
Right.
So there's often this kind of middle ground, I think, where you don't compromise too much with yourself, but you're still reaching people.
Right. Yeah. Because, you're not creating this stuff in a vacuum. Like, you're putting it out so that people will hopefully see it.
Yeah, I mean, I
feel
assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to. Like I'm just like anybody else. Like I look at the numbers. I'm super happy if a video is doing well, mostly because I get very nice comments and people seem to be happy that I provide some kind of service and benefit to their life, and that drives me. So it's not like the absolute numbers are interesting. It's more like, okay, this is fun. Like I get to talk about something I enjoy and I get a good response.
Right.
And when that aligns, I think, and the more you do it and the more consistent you are, the more possibility to find this alignment between your needs, wants, and desires creatively and kind of where there's an audience that can meet you in and kind of get what you're doing and enjoy it. So, and I feel I've kind of started to find that as well with what I'm doing. So I feel more comfortable and know a bit more kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
In a way that kind of gives me the response that I'm looking for.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, because you've been doing it for a while, right? A couple of years. Yeah,
3 years, but not seriously. Like 2015, I did the kind of, I don't know how many videos I did.
Right.
Yeah, a couple of videos. Yeah. And in 2016, I did some more circuit videos. And in 17, it sort of late 16,
when it clicked,
17. Yeah, it started to click more and more, for sure. Like my production values have increased. Like I've definitely improved a lot. Like I see myself when I started, like when I looked at it 2016, I said to myself, like, this is like 10% of what I can do. And in 17, I said, like, this is 20% of what I can do. And now I think I'm closer to like 40,
Okay.
50. Like I feel like I'm, I'm soon over that level where I feel like it's a larger percent that is representative of what I really can do, because I'm more comfortable with the technology and with the format, everything.
Yeah.
And the family is home. I don't know if you can hear
Yeah.
them, but it's now shit is about to go down. I hear in the background.
All right. Well, do you want to get going, Bo? I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah. I probably should.
Where can people find you online, Bo?
So they can find me over on youtube.com/BoBeats music. And they can find me over on Instagram.com as well, /BoBeats, and on Twitter /BoBeats music. Probably the easiest way to get a hold of me, or maybe on Facebook at facebook.com/BoBeats music as well. And I got my music over on, for example, on bobeatsmusic.bandcamp.com. Got some couple of tracks over there, and
Nice.
I got some stuff over on Spotify and iTunes as well. So
cool. Thank you so much, Bo. This has been
no
awesome,
problem.
and I appreciate you taking time.
I feel like I've been rambling a bit, but I know I will. Disclaimer: it's sort of it's the vacation brain, you know, or it's the overworked brain, because I've had mad couple of weeks, but it's been a lot of fun as well. So
awesome.
Thanks for having me. And
my pleasure.
Well, I'm going to go now and take care of the madness behind me.
All right, Bo.
All right.
Great talking to you. So that was my conversation with BoBeats. You can find Bo on YouTube at youtube.com/BoBeatsMusic, and you can follow Bo on Instagram at instagram.com/BoBeats. This is Mike from 424recording.com. Godspeed, my friends. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and review the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you want to support the podcast, you can check out patreon.com/424recording. Appreciate you, my friends. And make sure you do something you want to do today, okay? We'll catch you on the flip-flop. Peace.